Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Ronald Ray. I know all the names,
That man
dog.
got all the info.
I know all the names. Ronald Ray, Baby
all
B.
day.
Baby Bash is in the building, man.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to be here. It's always an honor to hang out with my boy Willie D. Like I said, I ain't seen you since the rodeo when there was 85,000 million people in the crowd.
Yeah, shout out to Bun B.
That's right, Big Bun. And it's good to chop it up. And, you know, like I said always, I like how you give it to him real, give it to him raw, no condom. And that's how I like to do it, too. Just give it to him raw, man. Some people need it. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I be checking out your Instagram, too, man. You don't hold back.
It's weird how people do hold back. That's what trips me out.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you hold back? That's always tripped me out, but I've always just relied on common sense. Like, if you have common sense, you're going to get it.
Right.
If you're on some other shit, then you're just going to, whatever. You're going to get offended or whatever the hell.
I was thinking about this the other day, man, and you're absolutely right. Like, why? What makes you hold back? Why would you hold back? And it's simply because we have this herd-type mentality. Like, people don't want to be left out. They don't want to feel ostracized. They don't want to be held accountable. So it's like everybody would like to just do whatever the mainstream is doing, go along to get along, as my man Kwame Brown would say. Yeah.
I think it's camaraderie. I think if they want to feel like they're with these people, you know what I mean? So they don't want to say something that'll get all them mad, like you said, to make them stand out. So they rather blend in. And what'd you call it? What'd you call it when you first called it? You called it something.
The herd.
The herd. Yeah, we like the herd mentality. Yeah, it's like, and I never been like that. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty strange how more people don't talk about the bullshit. You know what I mean?
And it's not even a matter of trying to be offensive, right? It's just speaking truth to power, just stating an opinion and being able to express yourself freely, right? That is something that I just cannot fathom not doing. Like, you got one life to live. Why live it under somebody else's terms? Why live for someone else?
Exactly. I mean, to tell you the truth is never offensive. The truth is never. The truth ain't a lie. The truth
not to truth seekers.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So I just think that all I could do is give the truth. I'm a double OG in this. I've been in this game a long time. I tell people all the time, like, social workers are cool. Whatever, social workers, they learn by a book. They go to I've had social workers, act like, I went to college 4 years. I'm like, well, I lived it. I lived that social work that you're talking about, so I know from experience of what's going on. And by the end of the day, I end up giving the social workers some game. You know what I mean? I end up being their therapist because, like I said, people could read books about it all day and go to college. Oh, I'm a social worker. I'm a, this and that. But experience beats all that. Experience beats any book. I've lived it. So. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. That's why a lot of these social workers, you see kids, CPS, all these people get let down. They get failed by the system because the people working for them are dorks. You know what I mean? And I don't mean dorks like, they are dorks kind of, but they think everything's by the book when you have to look at how the situation is. And I think that's why kids and people get failed by the system because the people working are going by something they read, in college that person never been through in their life. They don't know what it's like to have a father on heroin in real life, and you take the balloons and he beats your ass because you fucking took his heroin balloons. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
They don't know about shit like that. They don't know about your mom carrying out a water hose and getting gas, stealing gas, siphoning gas, choking on it while little kid's crying like, "Mom, you okay?" Because she's trying to get gas because there's no money. You know what I'm saying? These social workers go by a book, and I always tell them, I say about over 50% of social workers ain't never been through that life. They just read about it. And I don't think you can be real all the time. There might be some exceptions, of course, but When it comes to the real deal, I think that's why the system fails kids and fails people.
What was your relationship like with your parents growing up? What was that experience like in growing up in
Wow.
Vallejo, California?
Wow. So it's from heroin. Like I always say, my story is from heroin to hip hop because growing up, late 70s, early 80s, my dad was a heroin addict, heroin dealer,
Oh, you
prison.
talk okay, that was a real life experience you was just
Yes,
talking
yes,
about.
yes, yes. All I know is my life. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? So it's just, I've seen so much. Me and my brother went through a lot. Thank God for my grandfather, hardworking man. My grandmother and grandfather would take me in. Whenever my parents went to prison or jail, I always knew we'd go with my grandma. And then when they get out, they knew they can use us to get money from my grandma and grandpa, right? It was a game, and my poor parents, they were hooked on heroin, which was the hardest shit out, at that time. And, it's not their fault. It was the drugs' fault. But I just was always going back. And I always wanted to stay with my grandma and grandpa because I was safe there and I was eat. Sometimes with my parents, we wouldn't eat for a couple of days. My dad would just he was a gangster. He was a heroin dope addict, but that motherfucker would get us food somehow because he'd go break in vending machines and get us a little. Remember the cheese and crackers? Remember the long crackers with the cheese? You peel it over and you
yep.
scoop the cheese out.
Oh
He,
man, had the little cheese in the
yeah,
corner
yeah,
in the
and
square.
you square. So
Oh yeah.
he'd go get candy
Shadow
bars and
things
shit.
up,
That was
man.
our food. Yeah, that was our food. So he'd break
Yeah.
these motherfuckers and take the shit out and. He knew how to break in some shit. So
Yeah.
going from that and then going to my grandma's, I felt secure. My grandma, grandpa. My grandpa was one of them old school Mexicans that'll build you a house, fix your car, paint your house, give you a whole landscape. He could do everything, man. And he had a regular job. So
Mm.
he taught me the art of hard work. And he always told me, Mijo, we always got to keep an extra 20 in your pocket. Oh, he always gave me a $20 bill. He said, you never know when you might need a 20. And back then, 20 was like shit, a lot.
When he did that, let me just share a story with you real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt used to tell me, well, Willie gonna always have money. You're gonna always have money because I was always hustling.
Mm-hmm.
And I respected her so much that I wanted to live up to that reputation of always having money. Because she said it, I believed it. So
Yeah.
was that like,
Yeah, I
did you
looked up to
feel
my
that way when
grandpa.
your grandpa told you that? Hey, keep an extra 20?
Always in my head. That's been in my head forever. A bit just like you probably respected the aunt so much. You want to live up to her. I looked up to my grandfather, like I said.
Right.
So he was a hardworking man, and I always wanted to keep some money. So, even when I was broke, I had a 20. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere. I'm talking about when I was grown. When I was little, just whatever my parents had. But yeah, from heroin to hip hop, man, and that's why I say I've seen so much. I mean, so much tragedy, so much pain and agony. But then I've seen so much help and hard work. And then when I finally got my record deal, I got my record deal late. I was 35. You know what I'm saying? I got my record deal
That
late
was
in life.
You got your deal in '98 with Dope House, right? Was
Well, Dope House was like 99, but that wasn't really a major
that
deal.
wasn't
That was
that
just,
wasn't a major deal, but it was a major deal,
but I wasn't
you
getting
know.
no money. I just was on the label and was
And
like,
you were writing for
yeah,
Carlos,
yeah, I wrote a lot of songs. I wrote Wiggy,
right?
Wiggy, Wiggy, which became a big staple in his catalog. But
Yeah,
we were there, but we were broke. You know what I'm saying? That's like, a lot of, we acted like we had money. You know how the rap game goes. Like, we
right.
got to fake it till you make it. So we were all there, and it was just, there was so many rappers there, and everybody had to pretend that we had money because that's what the game was. But we was
Yeah,
broke as a bad joke.
but Carlos had money,
Yeah,
didn't
Carlos had
he?
money.
Yeah,
His family had money. They had a whole family workout. There was like the brother, the sister, the father. They had a whole warehouse and shit.
Arthur. I remember Arthur.
Arthur Core, yeah,
Yeah,
Arthur Core, yeah. Did you ever go to the Dope House? Did you ever
I
go there?
went up there.
You did go up
I
there.
went up
I
there.
remember seeing
Yeah,
Bushwick there a couple of times.
yeah. I went over there. I saw the operation.
Crazy, right? That was
Yeah,
crazy, right?
yeah, man. Shit, late '90s,
Yeah, late
early
'90s.
2000. I mean, Dope House was unstoppable,
I
bro.
got there in '99. Yeah, I remember. They had like cereal boxes because they had like a warehouse thing, but then they had studios. But it was a party every night. Just so
Hmm.
every night there was, because in Houston there was a club cracking every night. Monday was Amazonia. Tuesday was Hullabaloos. Wednesday was T-Town. I don't know if you remember T-Town, Coco Loco, motherfucking the Roxy. I mean, so every night there was a
Well,
bikini
Roxy's was
contest.
Wednesdays.
Okay, Roxy Wednesday. I might have got my
Yeah.
days wrong. But every night there was a bikini contest, and
Hmm.
it wasn't no average bikini contest in Houston, man. They were showing meat pack and everything.
Right.
They was going. They wanted to win that $1,000,
Right.
dog. So, and after the club, everybody would go to the dope house and it'd be a party, all the fucking rippers and everybody. So we had a lot of fun, but we was broke. We acted like we had some money.
Yeah.
But I got my deal in 2003 when I was like 35, about to be 35.
Yeah. So when you did Sugar Sugar with Frankie J, right? How did that song come about?
I had that song. We were just mobbing up and down. I was going to work with the Cumbia Kings. There's a big group. Selena's brother had a group called the Cumbia Kings, and Frankie was a member. But I really hung out with DJ Kane, the other singer up there. So we'd always talk about doing songs, and me and Frankie would say, yeah, us too, you know. And I went to San Diego to do something, and I said, Frankie, I got some beats. Happy Perez gave me a CD full of beats. Happy Perez, one of the biggest producers in the game right now. It's crazy. Pop, everything. But we went to, he said, let's go to a studio. We got the studio. We knocked out like 4 songs. And Sugar Sugar was one, but I still thought I was like on dope house type shit. Like I wanted hard shit. Like I thought it was too soft, right? I said, it's cool, but it's kind of soft. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to be this fucking hard rapper type dude, right? And then my pockets was hurting at the, you know what I mean? And people would always say, do a song for the ladies. You got a lot of girlfriends. Do a song for the radio. Man, fuck that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And then finally, I said, I got this song called Sugar Sugar, man. Check this one out, because I was broke. And it's so crazy. It's Corpus Christi. I took it to my boy Ed O'Conyers, who happened to be a program director in Corpus. Gave him the CD. It was a demo. And he played it. And he called me 4 days later and said, man, this Sugar Sugar song is blowing up on our phone lines. Because that's when phone lines were still in, people calling in. And I was like, man, it's called Lifted. It wasn't even called Sugar Sugar. It's called Lifted, man. No, we're calling it Sugar Sugar over here. It's too late. I'm like, fuck. He said, if you want to call Lifted, I won't play it. I said, man, it's called Sugar Sugar, man. So he played that shit. And that's when all the labels started calling and shit. And yeah, and that's how it happened so weird, because I had that song for about a year, but I thought it was soft, which it is. It's like a lovey-dovey song. But, and that changed my life. I finally let it out. I finally stopped trying to be Mr. fucking hard dude and went for the ladies. And I was like, oh shit, they like this, huh? Let me write another motherfucking one. You know what I mean? And Baby, I'm back. And I started, you know what I mean? And it's called supply and demand. If they, you know what I mean? If they demand it, I'll supply it.
Right.
And the rest is history.
Out of all the songs that you wrote for Carlos, which one of those songs you wish you had kept for yourself?
Probably Wiggy Wiggy, man. Wiggy Wiggy was my song.
Yeah.
Wiggy Wiggy, we'd be in the studio. Carlos would be out doing it, you know what I mean? He was blowing up, and he would have to do all kind of shit. He'd be everywhere. So we'd be at the studio recording, and we was working on my album. And I had 3 verses to Wiggy Wiggy already. And then he would come in, and he'd listen, what are y'all working on? Oh, check this out. I got this song for my album, bro. Wiggy Wiggy Wiggy. He started laughing and shit because it's kind of funny. He said, oh, let's put this on my album. I said, what? Yeah, I got an album getting ready to come out. He said, put it on there. We'll give you 1 verse. So I just kept my verse on it, and I was like, cool. And he just took my other 2 off and wrote his, and he put it out, and that shit hit. Do you remember the radio 107? Was it 107.9? 107, 104. I forgot. It was Homie Marco. Do you remember Homie Marco was a DJ, and he had this station. It was kind of like a Latin hip hop almost station from a Mexican station, and it started blowing it up. Every 30 minutes he played Wiggy Wiggy.
That was 104.9.
104.9, exactly. Yeah. 104.9. And that shit took off on the radio, and it was, next thing you know, he's on Universal. Universal gave him that big deal. And and we hit the road.
Man, where is Homie Marco? You heard from him?
Homie is, he's running a station in San Antonio. He did that for years, and I think he just came back to Houston. But Homie is definitely one of the guys responsible for helping that whole movement, you know, because he would play, you know, the Latin hip hop back then, you know what I mean, on the station. That's not me. Yeah, but Homie Marco would, you know, he definitely would be at all those concerts, all those clubs doing the bikini contest. So it was weird for me to see all those Mexicans just going crazy in bikini contests. Because I was coming from California, and if you was like a stripper and shit back then, you was either a dope fiend or, you know what I mean, or getting pimped out. You know what I mean? It wasn't no like regular fine ass girls being strippers. It was either some dope fiend shit, you know what I'm saying, or some pimped out shit. Right. When I came out here, it's like, man, just average, just normal chicks, you know what I'm saying, stripping and shit. And I was like, damn, they're kind of like cool over here. Got their own shit going on, and that's what it was. I was jumped into that culture, and I was like, damn. And Houston got me. You know what I'm saying? SPM was like, you got to stay. Wiggy's ahead. You got to stay. So I stayed.
So it's
99.
99. Y'all banging. Dope House
Bing.
going hard.
Bing.
2000. Dope House going hard. 2001. Y'all Dope House going hard.
Immediate break. Well, there was phone calls earlier where they would be going on, and Tootie Arthur would be saying, man, this you know, something's going on. You know, this girl's saying, you know, whoopty whoop whoop, whoopty whoop whoop, and I'm listening like, what the fuck? And yeah, next thing you know, we would hit the road. You know, I kind of was doing my own thing because you got to remember, in 2000, I finally had my solo album, and Carlos got so big at a point where he wasn't hanging with us no more. You know, that's how, you know, he was doing some big shit. So we were kind of me, Grim, Happy Perez, Russell Lee. Mm-hmm. We were kind of being the Lone Star Riders back then with Max Manelli, and we were kind of doing shows and shit. And he kind of was just, you know, he was huge. He was like fucking the Beatles at the time. So, and I was hearing some shit on the phone, like, you know, the girl, whatever, that he was messing with, for going at him hardcore and shit. So it was probably like about 6-7 months, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, it's like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Now they get to the Dope House and made some arrests and shit. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was totally caught off guard with that. I mean, I was totally surprised because Dope House was just like, Dope House was handling business. South Park Mexican, who we call him Carlos, who is Carlos, is the biggest dude, you know, one of the biggest guys in the city, easily, and really got, besides Kid Frost,
mm-hmm.
in terms of what Mexican rappers are doing, he the biggest.
Yeah,
you know
I met Kid Frost first. Kid Frost introduced me to SPM. Yeah.
In Mexico City, right?
In New Mexico.
In New Mexico,
Albuquerque,
right.
New Mexico. New Mexico.
At a car show, right?
And he had told me, he said, man, this motherfucker, SPM, South Park Mexican, he shuts it down in Houston. I was like, who? Fuck. No, I was like, who's this Frost? Come on, man. So he was like, man, they take me to a strip club. Everybody has to go except us and the strippers. I was like, yeah, right. And next thing you know, I met him. He's like, yeah, I'll fly to Houston. Flew me to Houston, and fucking Frost was right. That shit was real.
You never looked back.
Never looked back. Well, my house got raided. See, I was selling crank at the time, too, in California. So I was, crank, it turned into meth. Now it's called meth. But I was selling crank back in the days. And my roommate ended up getting on the shit. He ended up getting on the crank, man, chasing pussy around, man. So he ended up getting on the shit and got us busted, got the house raided. So I never went back home. I said, I got to stay. You know, his And
you never had a warrant for your
Never
arrest?
had no charges, man. Never had no charges and none. Never had no charges. He was a he was a federal agent. He was a border patrol dude, man. He used to go pick the shit up in a badge. I mean, in a badge and everything with a gun and go pick it up for me. It was crazy, dog. I would just
got the perfect connect.
I had it. I used to come home to thousands. I used to come home to money. I'd be gone doing my thing. Come home. He's like, yeah, Ron. It's been like a month. I got about $4,000 here for you. I'm like, cool. And then he started getting on. Once he got a divorce.
He got high on his own supply.
He got high on his own fucking supply. We call them bag chasers. Started fucking with them bag chasing chicks. And they got him. And he got on it, started tweaking out, acting funny. Got set up cold-blooded. They put him over in front of a school, so they added another 10-year charge because he had that much drugs in front of a school.
So going forward to 2001,
mm-hmm.
when the news hit,
mm-hmm.
rapper South Park Mexican accused of molesting child.
Mm-hmm.
You get the news. What's the climate like at Dope House Records at this time?
Well, we weren't really hanging at the Dope House that much anymore. Like I said, me, Grim, Happy, we were staying on Hardy Toll Road. So that was our compound. So when we heard the news, we was like, what the fuck? And, but like I said, Tootie had already been saying that the girl's kind of tripping on. She wants some money and all that shit, right?
And who is this girl?
The girl that accused them, that touched her daughter. That they were friends. They grew up together actually. So it wasn't like some random shit. It was they grew up together.
Who grew up together?
The girl, not the little girl, the mom.
The mom grew up with who?
SPM and his wife, and They were best friends.
So these are two couples who are best friends.
Yes. The
The
girl would stay the night at Carlos's house, and that's how it happened. Like that's how they
the little girl would
allegedly
stay the night at
with his
Carl.
daughter.
This is the 9-year-old girl,
Yeah.
right? Because there was 3 girls in all that they went after him over.
Well,
3
yeah, they went
underage
after
girls.
him also for the baby's mom. He had a baby with the 14-year-old that he said he met in a strip club. And all this, I wasn't around back then. So all I ever got was information that they gave me. That's all I ever knew. It's not like I did any research. They would tell me shit, and I was like, oh, okay. So I would just go off what I was told because I never really was around this shit. Like I said, when he had the baby with the 14-year-old, that was like in the earlier 90s. So I wasn't still in California, so I didn't even know about that. This new shit, I remember the brother was kind of getting on a phone call and said, man, they're trying to get Carlos dirty, right? And I'm like, not tripping because Carlos is the man. You think, oh. And then when that news hit, it was like, wow, it's really going through. And I was still thinking, okay, well, he'll get through it. And I remember being in Denver, Colorado, doing a show with the Lone Star Riders. Grim's on the phone talking to his brother, and he said they gave that motherfucker 45 years. It's like, what the fuck? Then it just shook us up like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
I remember that like it happened today, bro. I was at my aunt and uncle's house watching the news. It was midday.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in, and I'm thinking to myself, first and foremost, whether he did it or not, I don't know what happened, but whether he did it or not, he's in America and he's rich. America doesn't care about victims of sexual assault. I do, but America don't.
Mm-hmm. We're learning that.
America was built on sexual assault, all right? They came in raping and pillaging, okay? So that's why I believe that a lot of the elected officials and stuff don't really take sexual assault seriously unless it has some type of political implications behind it or something, right?
Yeah, I think
And that's what I think happened in this situation. I think this had some type of political implications behind it. I don't think they cared for one moment about those little girls. I do, but I don't think they cared about those girls. I think they used those girls as pawns to take down Carlos Carr.
Well, yeah, they took him down, all right, and the whole case was crazy because I thought he was going to get off because I thought, no way, he didn't. In my head, I'm thinking, fucking, I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Like, that's some weirdo, crazy shit, right? Like, 9 years old.
And what made you think he was going to get off? I mean, was that
because
did you have any type of evidence that?
Well, because, like I said, the brother had been talking on the phone saying they want some money, right?
Okay.
The mom wanted
So
some.
you think this is a pure extortion thing?
So I'm thinking, okay, well, it can't be true because if a motherfucker, I don't want no money. If they really did it to my kid, I don't want no money. I want some fucking
you want that
justice
you want
and that.
contact.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
contact.
money. You know what I mean? If I can't get a hold of them, then prison for life. You know what I mean? That's my mentality. So when he told, and I keep thinking like, well, she wanted some money. Is what I'm just going off what the brother had told me, Tootie Arthur. So he tells me that, and then it rings in my head like, okay, so it can't be true because who would want money if someone touched a kid? You want blood. You know what I mean? So when they got him, I was like, damn, they must have had some fucking evidence. But then I come back and find out there was no evidence. He still got convicted. It was just word against word about that case.
And the little girl was on the stand saying that she think it may have been a dream. It could have been a dream.
That on the stand, poor girl.
How do you convict someone based on I think I may have been dreaming?
I don't. That's the crazy. I don't know. And the crazy and SPM hired the most expensive lawyer you could find in Houston at the time was Mike Ramsey, who was big at doing the Enron shit at the time. So he spent a lot of money on lawyers, and they still.
You think Mike sold him out?
I don't know. I don't. What I heard was Mike never really went. Mike sent one of his what do you call it? The cronies, just the young guys coming up.
Yeah.
Sent one of those dudes to deal with him.
Yeah.
Like he took the case.
Pupils. Yeah.
Yeah, he took the case.
Right.
And got breaded up.
But he didn't work it.
But he didn't really work it and shit. So that's what I conclusion that I was given, and yeah, it's still, it's shocking. I still don't believe he actually touched the 9-year-old in my head, but Who's to say? No one
But
knows, but you know what I mean? If he did, he's the worst motherfucking thing walking on 2 feet. You know what I'm saying? It was the worst fucking thing. But then they got him for the having a baby by the 14-year-old, which I think sealed the deal.
which that
Which
could not be.
he did. He did have
He
that.
could not argue that.
Yeah, you can't argue that. Which he said that he met at a strip club when she was stripping at 14. And that's all the story that I knew. I have no idea about any other. Like I said, I just go off what they told me. That's all I knew. So
he said he didn't know that the girl was 13 years old at the
Yeah.
time.
see, I don't know if it's 13 or 14. It keeps going back and forth.
In
like,
the news, they were saying 13.
Okay,
They were
so
saying
then-
she was
okay,
13.
yeah.
But in any event, she's underage. And
Yeah.
my thing is, this is why I don't respect what they did. If it was really about justice, everybody got to get it. Not just Carlos, but everybody got to get it. Why didn't the management get it?
Management, yep.
Why didn't the owner of the club be held accountable?
Yep.
Why didn't the other girls who knew? Because I'm sure if, when a girl starts dancing, another girl breaks her in. She teaches her the ropes. This is what you do. This is how you get to. This guy is butt ugly. He has horrible breath. Here, take this. It'll get you through it. Those other girls,
Yeah,
they
there's a game
school
to
them.
it, yeah.
They school them. So there are people who, at the very least, who are accessories
Yeah.
to
that's
a crime.
good word. Yeah.
To the crime
I never thought about it like that.
that was
Yeah, you're
committed,
right.
right?
You're right.
And all of them should pay a price. All of them should have been criminally charged, but they only went after Carlos, only
Yeah.
South Park Mexican. And I was totally surprised. Like I say, I took my emotions totally out of it.
Yeah.
I just look at the way the system works.
Yeah.
And in America, when you got money like Carlos had,
You can get off.
and like you said, he paid for the most expensive, one of the most expensive lawyers in the city. And you go through something like this where you're fighting for your life and you spend all that money, you got all this popularity, and you get 45 years.
45.
That's personal, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know who he pissed off, but that was personal.
Yeah, and if you remember some of the news things, you could see, because I had lost contact once they snatched him up. I lost contact, and so all I could see what was going on, and I remember some of the news where he was acting like he was in cuffs and shit, and he'd be acting cocky and confident, and I don't know if that was a ploy. I don't know what that was, but I just remember thinking, damn, they're gonna be majorly pissed, man. It's getting madder and madder.
Even so, and yeah, that's all. Listen to me, boys and girls. Listen to me well. It's never a good idea to antagonize people who have the power to take away your freedom. It is never a good idea to antagonize them because these people have power to where they can operate within the legal realm, but they can also stretch their authority and go out of bounds. And guess what? In most cases, they'll never be held accountable if they break the law to get you. They'll never be held accountable if they omit evidence, if they suppress evidence. They'll never be held accountable.
It's been happening for many, many moons,
Yeah.
man. It's been happening since, since day one of the court system. It's been happening, man. But I just want to make sure, all the information I've received on all that, because everybody thinks that I'm fucking Mr. SPM and Mr. fucking Dope. I know all this, you know what I mean? I only know what I've been told. I don't know the whole scoop. Like I said, me, Grim, and Happy, we kind of took off and doing our Lone Star Rider shit when all the shit started going down. But I just know all the information that I was given. Whether it's all true or not, I don't know. If he did do the thing with the 9-year-old girl, if I really thought he did, then he's the lowest piece of shit in the world. I don't care if it's my mother, my father, my brother. If anybody ever does that, the lowest shit in the fucking world. Like I said, the 14-year-old, the 13-year-old, I wasn't around for all that. I was still in California, so I wasn't really around for that. So all I know is what's been told to me.
Now, I know you're real with it because I see your post. You post a lot of stuff in defense of victims of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And so that's commendable, man, because you would think that everybody would be on board with something like that. And from time to time, you got people in the comments going like, "Hey, man,
I know.
hey, this and that." You ever get anybody in your comments? Like I said, you're very active on Instagram. You ever get anybody in the comments? Well, not the comments, but goes into your DM and try to get at you.
Oh man, yeah, just they don't get at me crazy or nothing, but it's always like, hey man, why are you doing this? I've had people face to face ask me like, man, why you always posting about child abuse and people getting fucked over and shit like that? And why don't you post about? I think they want me to post about bitches and money and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think that's what they want to see,
Right.
and it's like, man, I let them other cats do that shit, man. I don't got nothing to prove. I got all that, but I don't. And I think that's what they want to see because they, when you was in the game and when you was rapping and heavy into it, and didn't you, everybody thought that everything was a party life. Rap lifestyle was like a like a rock star lifestyle, right? And I'm like, I don't even drink. I ain't never been drunk in my life. I don't even drink. So, weed, pussy, yeah, it's all good. I take, all that. I had that before the fucking fame, but my life is not. I never bought no real jewelry in my life. All I ever had was a real watch in my whole life that was given to me by a jewelry company because I wore it in a picture and they gave it to me. But everything I've ever wore after that, not real shit because I'm not really a jewelry dude. I've always been just an athlete. I was an athlete in high school. I played junior college basketball.
You was a guard.
Point guard, yeah. I was one of them strong-ass point guard. I was benching
You
350.
played junior college?
I played JC
Benching
at
350?
Solano. Benching 350. The coach wanted me to play football.
How much did you weigh?
I probably weighed about 180. 180 when I was tip
That's
top shape.
impressive.
I was.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I was. I broke the record at Solano Junior College, kind of by Vallejo, Fairfield, and I grew up. I grew up in Vallejo, which I went to the same high school with E-40. Mac Dre was my brother's like best friend in junior high. Jeff Gordon went to my school. You know what I mean? Mac Mall, Seti Sale, like that's just my high school growing up times was just like some history shit in its own.
Did you ever develop a relationship with E-40?
Yeah, hell yeah. That's my boy. We got about 10 songs together. He was
Okay.
when he was a senior, I was in 10th grade. But all the athletes, because E-40 was an athlete too, all the athletes had 6-period PE. So we'd hoop, you know what I mean? And all the hoopers would be in a 6th period and all the football players. So we knew each other from there. Then he went to Grambling, but his little brother D-Shot was D-Shot
Right.
was a savage, man. E-40 was like a dope dealing cool dude, but he was mellow. D-Shot was the actual motherfucker, man. That motherfucker would knock motherfuckers out. He could have been a pro football player. He was so raw, but he was in the street. He was getting into high speed chases in high school.
What?
And it was a big deal. Yeah, D-Shot was getting the high speeds
Cool,
in high
calm,
school.
collective D-Shot.
Yeah, D-Shot, man. B Legit was the cool compilation. B, right? B Legit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And but D-Shot was a motherfucking dog. He was I remember when he was in 7th grade, we was in 9th grade, and his junior high, they said, we got a guy that's our 7th grader beat up your toughest 9th grader, right? So we had the guy named Bob Onez, who was like a bodybuilder dude, right? 9th grade and shit. So we're thinking, oh shit, Bob, you're gonna kick this little 7th grader's ass. So here they come, 7th graders, fucking D-Shot. He's a big motherfucker. A beat, ding, 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 start lighting them all out. Oh man, 7th grader knocked out a 9th grader, our toughest 9th grader. Well, we thought he was the toughest. Now that I see him, like, oh, this motherfucker was just big. He wasn't even tough. But and then E-40 and Mac Dre, their crews hated each other. So you got to imagine being in Vallejo. E-40 was always kind of older and he didn't really go crazy. He was always just a cool dude. But his crew and Mac Dre's crew, oh my God, like if there was ever a party or anything, it was just major funk all the time.
I'm tripping, man, because E-40 and Mac Dre are some of the coolest dudes ever, laid back dudes ever.
Ever.
How did these guys have friction?
Because they were from the Crest side, Mac Dre, that was like their hood, and then E-40 was from the Hill side, Beverly Hills. And it was always, at my school, I played basketball with someone from the Crest and someone from the Hill. We had to be on the same team, but we always knew it was tension because this is how it was in 87, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so their crew would make songs about them, they would make songs about them, and Vallejo's so small, whenever they run into each other, motherfuckers done got bipped with fucking car jacks and bats, and it's been some beatdowns, man. They made songs about each other, But E-40 was always like the grown man of the whole thing, always. You know, he was a big old Calhoun motherfucker, and he'll fight. But he was always like the grown man of all the situations. Mac Dre and them, they were like more the youngsters starting the shit, going, you know what I mean, and going crazy on the shit, you know what I mean? So it was weird that I had to be in between all that. But I've soaked that game from both sides because I hung with both sides.
Yeah.
Because I was from the bridge, and we got along with everybody.
How did you get into the cannabis game?
Well, smoking weed first for a while, and then we had this guy, Scott. He wanted to do these pre-rolls back in I say 2011. He showed me this Ziploc pack full of pre-roll joints. But it was just a Ziploc pack. I said, man. He said, man, I want to start slanging these. I said, well, that's cool, but if you can get like a box or something, it'll be dope. A year later, he comes back at me. Look, I got a box made. Put him in there. Cool, it's a good idea. And this one, California was medical. They weren't all the way. Recreational. It was medical. So we had to get a fucking charity business license, all kind of shit. And we had California's finest pre-rolls. And it started taking off. Everybody, we were the first ones to ever have marijuana cigarette pre-rolls in a pack. It's documented, it's world history. And we would go to these cannabis shows, and we'd win prizes like, oh my God, what's the new product? We'd win fucking trophies from cannabis cups and high times because we had the best product at the time. Now pre-rolls are everywhere, but back then, we were the only ones to have it, California's finest. But we didn't know the business part. So while we're doing this and slanging and giving shit away and selling shit and smoking shit, the IRS is patiently waiting, right? The IRS is patiently waiting. And 3 years later, right when it was getting ready to peak, man, you owe $5 million. So it was like, oh man, we're bankrupt as a motherfucker, man. So once the IRS hit us, we had to fall back a little bit.
Did the IRS settle, or did y'all settle with
them? We got it down to like I think 1 million, and then I think it was payments being made, but we never made the money that they thought we never even came close to the money that they said we made. That was their estimation.
How did they come up with that figure?
We still don't know how they came up with that figure. We still don't. They were just acting like we were bragging. I mean, who knows, dog? But we were bragging and winning trophies, and yeah, they ended that. So then, you know, I opened up a store out here, CBD store, because marijuana wasn't legal. We were a CBD store, Organic Prime, and then we were doing great. And then all of a sudden, the fucking pandemic hit, fucked us off. And that building I was renting was over 5 G's a month. It wasn't no weak ass shit. It was some real shit. And I was like, fuck this place. Shut it down. And now I got a new one called Personals Pre-Rolls. Personals, because now you don't want to pass the joint to anybody now. Just keep your personal joint. You know, give them a own joint, because passing the joint now, you never know what they got in their mouth. You know what I mean?
Man. Now, I'm glad you brought that up. How do you guys combat people's fear of having their cannabis laced with fentanyl? This fentanyl is killing people all over the place, man, and people have no idea most of the time what's inside of that stuff unless you roll it. Damn near you got to almost grow it yourself now.
Yeah.
And roll it yourself to know what's in it.
I have a rule, and it's called Know Your Grower. Know your grower. Know where you're getting it from. Know it, because like you said, there's fentanyls and all these pills. They're lacing up weed now. They're finding cases they're putting in. And I don't know why they would do that. To kill somebody? Are you being funny or trying to make it more potent? But know your grower. Know where everything. You know where your food's coming from now, because I think they're fucking with the food. They're fucking with the air. These motherfuckers are fucking biologically. They're fucking with everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're over here on our own and shit, man. And you're on your own when you got a family. You know, I'm a big into family. Like, I'm a protector, a provider. And, you know, I believe big on being the man of the house and taking care of everything. So I'm out there. I make sure nothing comes to my house until I see it, judge it, motherfucking clear it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing can be, you know, people say, oh, don't judge me. I say, shit. I'm judging anything that come around my family. I judge the shit out that motherfucker twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell, let me see. Can you be around my kids? Oh, man, you know what I mean? I'm checking the whole thing out. So, as far as the marijuana, man, you got to know your grower, know where you're getting your shit from, because times are crazy. This ain't like the old days.
I'm not a smoker, but let's say I am a smoker. Hypothetically speaking, if I was a smoker What steps do I take to know my grower?
Well, where would you get your weed from? Would you get it from your friend, your dealer, or your friend? You have to figure out who's getting it from. You talk to them. Well,
Okay.
nowadays they got barcodes where you can see. It's called from seed to sale. You could find out where the seed started at to grow it, who grew it, how they cured it, how much THC is in it, all the way to the store and how much it costs. Seed to sale. And you can ask the store or dispensary, wherever you get it now, let me see where it came from. And then the farms will have a good reputations. You want the farms. Black market, if you're getting
You're
a
on your
black
own.
market, you're on your own, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to trust whoever's bringing it. And sometimes if it's cheap enough, they might buy, you know what I mean? You know how it goes. They get the cheap route and never know what's in it. Motherfucker getting it off. So, the marijuana world is just, in California, it's kind of getting fucked up. Actually, there's too much shit going on. But we're waiting for it to hit Houston full blown so we can make it happen, because I think Texas marijuana smokers used to support a lot of states. You know what I'm saying? Texas is a big smoking city. Texas is a big marijuana. And once it becomes legal, it's going to be the big boom, like the motherfucking gold boom, or the, what was that big boom? I forgot. I learned in history, some shit, some kind of boom. The big boom, or I forgot
the
what
gold
it was.
rush?
Was it the gold rush? Yeah, it might have been the gold rush. Yes, this is going to be the gold rush, but it's going to be the green rush. And Texas is going to be the king of it.
Yeah.
So be ready to get you know what I mean? The Willie D rolls to get you right.
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about it coming to Texas because I just feel like, in terms of me being able to monetize it myself, because I just feel like everybody is waiting on that moment. There's a lot of people in line waiting, and I think, like you say, it's going to be like a gold rush, so to speak. And with everybody pouncing on it, I mean, how many millions is really there for me to make? Like, I don't really, because I don't really do anything that don't make millions. Like, if I don't think it has the potential to make millions, I don't touch it. And not simply because I think I'm too much or whatever, but I count my time versus what I'm getting. So I just think it takes because I'm a personal person, I take pride in what I do. If I do something, whether it's small or big, I'm gonna put my heart into it, and my brand goes on it. So I just rather do something big than do something small. So if it's not millions involved,
You're
or
right.
the potential to make millions, I don't even touch it. So I want if I was to get into it, I would want to make millions, and I just think that I would run into a lot of issues with everybody being in line.
Yeah, it'll get saturated. It's going to get saturated quick because people are making. Yeah, it'll get waiting for it. It'll get saturated real quick. I think people like me and Paul Wall, who've kind of been in the front lines of it. Me and Paul Wall, they try to give us like life. We were having a little.
I know.
Man,
how did a smoke out with Paul Wall turn into a RICO case?
Man, that was the craziest shit of my life, dog. That was the craziest shit of my life.
And how did that refresh everybody on what happened with that and what the results were?
Okay, so me and Paul Wall, like we're in the cannabis business. He has a brand, Satellite, it's all in California, and we started talking about, hey, and we're weed smokers. So whenever we come back to Texas, hey, let's have a smoke out, invite some friends. It started off just kind of just showing off our weed. We like to hey, check out what I got. Oh, I got the cereal milk. Oh, I got the motherfucking tangy cake. Or, we would just show it off, and more people started coming. And it went from like 30 people to like 300 people.
And y'all were doing this weekly or what?
Nah, we would do it like maybe once every month. Yeah, whenever we feel like, hey, let's find a spot. Because we did it in a couple studios before. We damn near burned it. I mean, so many people started showing up. Bruce was like, man, fire started and shit. So I don't know what the fuck. They started a fire over here. It was fucked up. He was like, man, you can't
Shout out to Bruce, man.
Bruce Bang, that's right. We can't have these over here no more, Bash. I'm like, all right. So we started finding other places. And it was basically just a show off of our new strands of what we're smoking in California. But come to find out, a lot of people had weed out here to show off. So it started getting big. And somebody must have called the cops and said, hey, they're having fucking pot parties. Because that's what they're on the news. They're saying, yeah, Baby Bash and Paul Wall's having pot parties. Which was pretty dope. I like that. I mean, it's kind of pretty tight at the time. But, yeah, they came in with like fucking with masks. They came in with fucking rifles, gun, laid everybody down.
They came into where?
We were at a smoke shop.
Okay.
So we were at a smoke shop.
How many people were there?
See, this was towards the end. So I was getting ready to leave. I was coming out, getting ready to leave. We had like a food truck in the back. It was like set up nice. There was probably about probably maybe about 100 people left. It probably peaked at 3, but probably by the end of the night it was at 100. I was getting ready to walk out, so I walk out the back. I was parked in the back, got into my truck, got in, started up. All of a sudden, the flashlight and the guns at my face. Freeze. I look over here. I said, "Oh
Did they
shit!"
use the word freeze?
Freeze.
They said freeze.
Freeze, like I was a motherfucking Starsky and Hutch back in the old school. Freeze.
Boy, that is, if that ain't 1960s,
And I froze like a motherfucker. Dog. I
70s,
looked.
freeze.
Yeah, it was like some motherfucking Starsky and Hutch shit. Next thing you know, I see a bunch of dudes that look like ninjas, right, just running by me. And you hear them because you can hear them stomping, right? They're all dressed in black with masks and shit. Like, so what the fuck? So first I'm thinking, oh, they're jacking us, dude. Fuck, they're gonna rob this old motherfucker, right? And then on the back of their shirts, Houston Police, right? I'm like, what the fuck? So then now I know who this is because I couldn't tell because the flashlight was in my face. I couldn't see, and these motherfuckers running by. And then Paul was in there. Paul Wall was still in there. And Paul's the one that said, hey, they broke. And you could hear, get down, shit breaking. And Paul said they ran in there and laid everybody on that floor on their back. So they took me, Paul, and another dude in the back and said, we want you, you, and you. Everyone else could leave. Everyone empty your pocket. They made everybody empty their pocket. Oh, this is what fucked up. Everybody in there that was left, they made them all empty their pockets and throw everything in a pile. Motherfuckers had pill. They had a fucking black tar. They had a fucking coke, meth. They had all kind of drugs in these motherfuckers piled, and they piled up in there, and they were trying to charge us with that shit, right?
Wow.
And we was like, what the fuck? So the cops, they take us to the back of the car. We're handcuffed, and one's being cool, like, man, we were just listening to you guys shit. Imagine an officer telling you that. So then I'm kind of relaxing. Yeah,
You're like, but let me go then.
I mean, yeah, you know what I talk about. I'm just smoking some weed, right? I had no clue about a RICO Act and a fucking organized crime thing, right? I had no clue about that shit. And the guy comes out and he said, let me see if we can get you guys, out by the, handcuffed and ready to go after we check everything out. So we're chilling. He comes back. I don't know if he talked to somebody. He said, yeah, we're charging you with organized crime. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We're like, what the fuck? I look at my boy. We look at Paul. Paul looks at me like, man, this is some serious shit. And these two dudes, two cops, they're kind of younger. They said, we'll take him in, right? This is weird, too. They took us, and they jumped in the car, took us to, this is like 4 a.m. at this time, because it's fucking late. They take us to the station, but on the way, they stop at this, it's like a business district, like a bunch of warehouses and shit, and they stop. I'm like, man, they're either going to let us go and be cool.
Man,
like,
do not tell me them dudes asked for some pictures.
Yes, they did, bro. they wanted a picture real
I ain't
quick.
surprised, though.
I mean, and I even told it to my lawyer. My lawyer said, man, he said, that alone could fucking break the case for you. And but Carl was a great lawyer. You know Carl Moore?
I do know Carl Moore. Shout out to Carl Moore.
That motherfucker's a beast, dog. So
Yeah.
thanks God for Carl Moore. Everyone else hired lawyers, but my lawyer is the one that did everyone else hired lawyers, but let me tell you something. Carl Moore is the one that beat that case for us, got common sense on it, and beat that case for us. So we get turned in. Fucking next thing you know, we get out in the morning, get bailed out, and my girl saying, man, you're all over the news. I get home, there's 3 vans, channel fucking 11, 13, and 2 is at my house. They know where I live, and the people are coming out trying to talk to me, the reporters. I'm like, how the fuck they know where I live? I'm getting home. What was it? And I talked to one. I was like, man, I was telling the truth. This shit was just a weed party. These motherfuckers act like we're the fucking mafia.
Yeah, the Gambino family.
Yeah, I'm like, man, what the fuck? So I'm being honest, but little did I know, like Paul's lawyer and my other dude's lawyer, the smoke shop lawyer was like, don't ever talk. They yelled at me and shit. I'm like, man, I just told the truth. That's all it was. But then Carl Moore, he went to the fucking what do you call it when the grand jury before they give you the case? He went to the grand jury, wrote them all letters. He said, this is what they were doing. You're charging them with this. If you're charging them with...
Hold on. He can't go to the grand jury because...
Well, he gave it to the
because only the DA can.
Yeah, he gave it to the DA.
To the grand jury.
And the DA was cool enough because they knew each other. They went to school together, thank God. But she was gracious enough to give him all the letter. Hey, from us, we want to give the letter to the grand jury. And it said, hey, these motherfuckers are just smoking weed. Yeah, they shouldn't be smoking weed. Yeah, get them in trouble for that. But you're trying to give them life for this shit. They ain't no money getting involved. You know what I mean? They reckon like some money involved in shit. So thank God the grand jury was logical enough to say, yeah, you're right. It wasn't this. There was no evidence about it. It was this. So they shut it down. And
Nice.
Thank God for that, man. Carl Moore, man. We love you, man.
Call more. Call more.
Call Carl. If you in it, call Carl.
Man,
And that's
you
how it
you
went.
back earlier when we first started talking, you was saying that you blame the drugs, not your parents.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you would say that because most people who experience that type of lifestyle growing up, they will blame their parents. They will just, because they've been through so much trauma, they got to blame somebody. And most people find a human being to blame. They'll say, it was my
Hmm.
daddy, it was my mama did this or whatever. But you blame the drugs. Why?
Because the heroin, heroin is the mother, some people can't go through them withdrawals. Like, they couldn't beat it. They just couldn't beat it. So, like I said, we lived on this couch for a fucking 2 weeks. Then we go to my other uncle's house and live on that couch. We were couch hoppers. We call ourselves couch hoppers because we live on different of our family. They all loved my parents. That's why they did it. Because my parents were good people. Everyone loved them, but they just couldn't shake that heroin. You know what I mean? So they all my aunts and uncles are also responsible for raising me and my brother. And my parents weren't bad people. They just were on heroin. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't really blame them because my mom especially, she really tried. She always made sure we had some food and she'd always try to make sure. Like I said, my dad, he'll break into shit to get us some fucking food. So we always had somewhere to sleep. We never had to be homeless like outside in the car. We were damn near, but we got to stay in people's couches. So I know they tried. They couldn't stop that fucking heroin. And heroin, they say, I would never do it. I never understood a motherfucker stick a needle in his arm at all, period. You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker offer you a needle, I'm going to slap the shit out of somebody because that's disrespect. But they was on it. I guess in the 70s, heroin was big. Was the heroin big out here in the 70s? I mean, when you was...
Yeah. Yeah. I walked into a cafe and I was looking for my mom. And I walk into the restroom and I see this dude. He got the
Wrapped
strap
around,
around
yeah.
his arm and he's hitting it. Spooked the hell out of me. I was at 7th grade at the time. But I remember not wanting to do drugs for that reason. I always I hear people. I used to read a lot when I was a kid. I used to read a whole lot of stuff. I would read newspapers and I never read the sports section. I would read the metropolitan section, the front page, and business. But anytime I would hear stuff about drugs, and I saw a lot of people that did drugs in person, drugs spooked me because there were good people that I knew that did drugs. And it made them do the craziest things, the most uncivilized things. And because drugs affect different people in different ways, you don't know how it's going to affect you until you try it. So my thing was like, I'm just not going to try it because I don't like the idea of something being in control of my mind other than me, somebody or whatever, something other than me being in control of what I think and what I do.
You've always been like that, huh? Since teenagers?
I have.
Boy, that's solid, man. That's solid.
I have, man. And I learned early on, like, if I'm going to do something stupid, it's going to be my idea. That way, if I end up in jail, or if I'm lying on that ground and I'm gasping for air, I'm struggling for oxygen, I want to know that, I don't want to be laying down like, you big dummy,
Yeah.
because of this guy right here. No, it's going to be because I made the conscious decision to do that, and I can live with it. That's why everything that I've ever done, anytime I ever got myself in a jam, whether it be, legally or personal, whatever, I was able to take my bitter with my sweet because I always looked at it like I brought it on myself. I never blamed anybody else. I never wore an excuse T-shirt.
And me too. Like I've never used my fucked up, crazy life as a victim. You know what I mean? Like, hey, feel sorry for me. I mean, because I hear people talk about their life. I said, man, you ain't went through shit compared to what I went through. You know what I mean? And I've never used that as a making an excuse. Yeah, as a crutch.
Yeah.
I've never used that for nothing. Like I dealt with it. I mean, I don't know what kind of individual I am, but I took it. But it's always in here. It's in my files forever. But I would just keep pushing because like you, I never fell for peer pressure. Like, I never drank. At the house, at the parties, get drunk. Da, da. I never fell for peer pressure my whole life. That's one thing I can always say that I'm proud of. Because some people, it's hard, especially in high school, college. People would tell me to do shit, and I would say, hell no, you do that shit. You know what I mean? I was smart enough to
Right.
do it for some reason. It was like, nah, I ain't doing that shit. I never fell for peer pressure in my whole life, and I think that's got me to where I've gotten in my life. It might have got me late, but it got me there. You've never drank in your life? You never been drunk?
Oh, now I've been drunk.
Oh, you've been drunk?
Yeah, I drink. I still drink from time to
Okay.
time, but I don't like to drink to get drunk. I don't like to, and I've been drunk a couple times, but I don't like to drink to get drunk. If I drink, I'm drinking to get a buzz.
Okay.
And even once I get that buzz, I'm chasing it with water because I don't like me when I had too much to drink.
Oh yeah, shit.
I don't
I
like
can imagine.
I don't like what that feels like.
Yeah, I've known some people that I can't be around that are my friends. I love to death, but if they drunk, I'm going the other way because I already know how the night's gonna end.
I know people that drink and they drink to have one of those days that they don't remember nothing that happened.
Blackout.
And they like to black out and they like to hear people talk about what they did, all of the crazy stuff they did on the night that they got drunk. They live for that. Like, oh, I'm gonna get blasted. Boy, you
I don't
did
get
this,
it,
you
man. I
did
don't
this,
get
and you
it.
did that, and they don't remember anything.
I mean,
I'm like, I don't want to be that dude.
there's been a couple. There's been probably millions of people who've had that one night that changed their life, end up in a jail cell forever. One blackout night, either a victim,
Yeah.
rape victim or something like that, or you kill somebody, or you know what I mean, or one bad decision could change your whole motherfucking life.
Rape victim or
Or
assailant.
the assailant, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And I come from a family, like I said, heroin addicts, alcoholics. All my uncles died from liver because they were alcoholics. And I remember being little. When you're little, your uncles are. I got some crazy uncles. They're crazy because they're all drunk and fucking fighting. And yeah, my fucking uncles are crazy. You know what I mean? It's all fun and games until they hit like 50 and 60 when they're and then they're all dying left and right. Boom, boom. Oh, my Uncle Child died. Theo Jr.'s dying. It's just crazy. And then it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But I never followed them footsteps on any. All I do is smoke weed, and that's how I've always been.
Go ahead.
I always. My brother, he was more of a rebel, so he did some crazy shit. Like I said, I'm 1 year older than him, so everything we went through. I've seen people pull guns on my dad. My dad would get two cars pulled. My dad burned somebody, right, with some bad dope. Around these motherfuckers come out with fucking machetes and shit. My dad get under, motherfuckers, I got my kids, you know what I mean? And these motherfuckers run and shit. And I'm with my brother, and we take off. The cops pull us over. Or, I'm hiding the gun in the back seat between the thing. I stuffed it in there. And my fucking dad said, after he got arrested, I guess they found the gun. My dad said, "Man, you shouldn't even hit it in there. It made it worse for me, son." I'm like, "Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm only fucking 11 years old, But from all that shit I've been through, it made me know, like, why would I want to venture into that lifestyle? I don't even want to venture into the lifestyle. That's like I tell people all the time. There's a fire burning right here, hot. Fire scorching right here, hot, burning hot fire, and you're looking at it, and if you touch it, your hand's gonna burn. But there's some people, they can't fucking help it. They gotta fucking touch that fire. They gotta try that drug. They have to do whatever they gotta do. Even they know it's gonna burn their fucking lives. They're gonna burn their fucking hand, and that fire is scorching, and some people have to touch it. When logically, you say, hey, don't touch that fire. It'll burn the fuck out of you. And I just live like that. Like, I want to do nothing that I know is gonna be bad for me. Why?
Mm-hmm. Are your parents still here?
My father died 8 years ago. Finally, his body gave. He ended up quitting. Prison time. I got a crazy story about my dad. So when he gets arrested, he does like 12 years. So I'm living with my grandma. I'm living my life. I don't really think about him too much. My mom's trying to do her thing in Fresno. I'm with my grandma. Then I come to Texas. I blow up. I got a fucking Sugar's the number one song on the radio. And I ain't talked to my dad in like 10 years, right? And little did I know, he was in a halfway house, getting out of prison. Like, I never knew because I didn't talk to my mom. So Sugar's the number one song in L.A. I go to L.A., they're having a baby bash fucking meet at phone company. I forgot what, from Motorola one or one of the Motorola stores in Beverly Hills. Meet Baby Bash, Big Power 106 shit. So I'm in the van. We're fucking happy as hell. Our life is crazy because I got a song on the radio. We can't believe it. So we pull up in a white van, and there's a crowd of fucking girls all the way around the fucking corner. About 500 people there in this little ass store. And the van pulls up, they open the door, and the girls start rushing to me and shit. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, hey, what's up? Whoop de whoop whoop. And then we're in the middle of all this, I hear someone going, hey, bud, hey, Ronnie, hey, get off me. And I look, and it's a security guard, got my dad like in a chokehold, right? I'm like, what the fuck? Is that Dad? I'm like, let him go, right? I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's, hey, bud, he's all happy and shit. And I said, get in here. What the fuck you doing? He had some other dude with him, right? Some other dope fiend looking motherfucker. I said, what are you doing? So he was in the halfway house, Skid Row in L.A. He said, man, they got me in this fucking Skid Row. I heard on the radio you were going to be here. So we fucking took a bus over here. And that's how he met me over there. So I'm like, what the fuck? I ain't seen him in a year. And all my friends were like, who's this motherfucker? I said, man, that's my dad, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he comes in. And, it's kind of weird. It's cool, though, because he's smiling. He's seen all the attention I'm getting. And he said, I got to go back. I got to catch a bus back to the Skid Row. I said, we'll take you, Dad. Don't trip. We'll take you in this fucking limo van. So we dropped that motherfucker off at Skid Row in a limo van. Everybody looking and shit. He said, yeah, man, I'll be out in about 6 months. So, okay. So after that was the last time he went back in. He kind of got off the heroin, methadone and all that shit, and he ended up becoming an alcoholic, which probably killed him quicker. So, it was just, he just needed something, I guess. But at the end, we end up getting on good terms, and I'm good for that. I just wish my grandfather would have seen my success. My biggest regret is my grandfather not seeing my success, man. Like, I cry about that every once in a while. When I think about him, I'll just tear up and just think like, God, out of everybody, my fucking grandfather worked the hardest, and everyone took advantage of his fucking hard work and money, and I proved it that I could make it, but he didn't get to fucking see it.
Your grandmother saw your success. Is she still alive?
Yeah, she's still alive, smoking
still
big
alive.
weed, man.
That's your heart, huh?
Yeah,
That's
my grandma.
the one.
Thank God for my grandma. She has dementia right now. She's going on her third year, but the CBD and the shit's helping her a lot, man. It's crazy because she was gonna die. She wouldn't eat. The appetite pills they were giving her from the doctor wasn't working. And we're like, oh, she weighed like 90 pounds, right? And we're thinking, oh, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna give her some chocolates. And I started giving her some weed chocolates. Next thing you know, she's eating. And now she's still with us. 2 years later, she's still with us.
Can she recognize you?
Yeah. I'm one of the very few people that she still, hey, right. Sometimes she thinks I'm her brother-in-law. Sometimes she says, that's my brother-in-law. Sometimes, I don't know. They say dementia makes you kind of wiggle woggle. But for the most part, me and my mom, she pretty much recognizes us still, which is dope at 93.
How many kids you got? You got all girls?
No, I got boy, girl, boy. I got 3.
Boy, girl, boy.
Boy,
Okay.
yeah.
Boy, girl, boy. 2 boys, 1 girl.
2 boys, 1 girl.
Okay. And what's that relationship like? I already know that you're a great dad because you're really involved in your kids' life. But what is that relationship like in terms of your celebrity? Do they look at you like, Dad, you're a star? Why? I need this, I need that.
Well, because they know I'm dad. First of all, they know before anything, music or anything, I'm dad because I just love them to death, and I try to stay as much time as I could. I coach them, I do everything. But as far as celebrity status, I've taken them to so many events. I've taken them to so many shows and events early in life, so they've seen,
spoiled.
Yeah, they've seen 30,000 people fucking singing and shit. So they kind of grew up going to the shows and going. They were at the rodeo with me. They grew up just seeing some of the stuff, but I tell them, don't use that as any kind of crutch. I let them know, don't use that as any kind of, hey, my dad's baby bad. Because eventually people are going to turn against that and want to fight you and want bad stuff to happen to you because, because you don't know what they're going at their home. You know what I mean? Not every kid has a father that can provide like that. Some people are going through some shit at home and they take it out on kids. So I always tell them, don't throw that in no one's face. And they've been pretty good at it. Been like, they said, nah, we're cool. We don't. When people do find out later on in school, they say, yeah, because so-and-so told them. You know what I mean? Then it gets out and I got to just say, yeah. So they've never really tried to throw it in no one's face. And I don't want them in the business. I would never in my life want them to be rappers, actors, singers, anything. I want them to do, not in show business at all. I want them to be something else.
What's their ages?
13, 11, and 8.
Does the 13-year-old at least expect the VIP treatment when they go to a concert?
They all do, yeah.
They want the backstage passes now, right?
They all want. If they ain't backstage, they ain't going.
They don't want to go,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
that's.
man.
I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
2.
Okay.
They're the same way.
Yeah.
They want that
Are they
access.
older or younger?
Older.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 27 and 23.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, I didn't have my first kid till I was 40,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, they, and times are pretty funny, but yeah, my kids are real chill, man. But I coach them, I talk to them. I think communication is real key. I talk to them, and I don't hold back. Ain't no going to the corner and shit. Hey, go to the corner. Nah, you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna get your shit took away. I'll take away your iPads and all that shit. I go hard, man. And I went hard early in their life to where now they know.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you should do it, because you nip it in the bud. I nipped it all in the bud, and they're good kids, man. And I kill for them. But I kill for other people's kids too. I don't look out for my kids. I seem like I look out for other kids too. I just have that mentality.
Takes a village.
Yeah, exactly. Takes a village to raise it. Yeah.
What do you tell them in regards to the racial climate that we're in today? There's a lot of hatred and a lot of lines drawn across the field in regards to race, to what color your skin is, and
I don't know.
What do you do?
They don't really know about. They think everything's. I mean, from where they're around, they haven't really been around any racial tension. They got cousins that are fucking hardcore Mexicans. You know what I mean? Cholo. You know what I mean? They got that they've met. They've been around. They got Samoan family, the Booyah tribe. They got Samoan family. They've been around. But then they also have the upper class money people that they've been around. So they've been around different fractions, and they seem like they get along with everybody. But I always teach them to be fair human beings. You got to be fair. You don't judge no one off a color. You don't judge no one off of money. You judge them off their character. And it's so crazy that my 8-year-old knows about the word character. Yeah, Dad, he got good character. Dad, he's cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how I talk to him, because, Willie, I've been around so many people in this world. I've been around white, black, brown, yellow. Everybody's seen, and everyone's getting, just like you, some good, every race, bad in every race. So I've seen people get along good, and wherever I go, everybody's getting along, but laughing at each other, black, white, brown, everyone's laughing. And then you get on the internet, and then it's like some people change up, and it's like they'll put a fucking fake ass fucking picture of something else, and they'll fucking type some shit, crazy shit. It's weird, and I think it's just weird to me, because I've never faced any kind of I've never had a confrontation in my whole career, and whether it be any color, no one's ever ran up on me. Like, being a rapper all these years, I've never had no one run up on me. I never had.
It's your energy, bro. It's how you carry yourself.
Is that what it is? Because I've never had
It's
any.
how you carry yourself.
Most rappers have some kind of something they've been through, or some jealousy or something, but I've always been cool with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's just how I carry myself. And I think my kids will take after me about doing that. And we used to bump the Ghetto Boys, dog. Let me tell you how we used to rate the Ghetto Boys. So we listen to the song, you know what I mean? Where's my trophy? Read these Nikes, all the hardcore shit, as well as, the radio shit. But we liked the hardcore shit. And we'd always say, man, we fuck with Willie D. Why? Why you fuck with Willie D, man? Scarface, Bush, we fuck with Willie D. Because he'll fight your motherfucking ass. We based on everything, man. This motherfucker, you could tell by your lyrics that you were ready to fight a motherfucker, dog. Everyone's talking about shooting motherfuckers, but Willie D would always talk about, man, I'll beat your motherfucking ass. And we used to fucking love Willie D parts, dog. That's what we used to fucking coming up. And I think we're about the same age, but I'm just saying, when we was in Vallejo, when you guys were 92, 91?
We started in 89.
Okay, but then... Okay. But when did okay, but it came out in 90, didn't it come out in 90?
Which the Read These Nikes and all of that. That was Read These Nikes was 89.
That was 89?
Trophy was 91.
Okay.
Where's my goddamn trophy?
Yeah.
That was 91.
And then that's when
playing tricks and all of that.
That's when DJ Ready Red was there, right?
No. Red was there for 89 and 90.
Okay.
Well, actually, Red was there also for 87. See, that was various. That was various combinations of Ghetto Boys up until 1989, and then so that's when me, Bill, and Brad started doing it, and we did that for a minute. Me, Bill, Brad, and Reddy Red started doing it, and then Red left. I left in 93. Big Mike stepped in for
Yeah, I
an
remember
album,
that. Yeah, I remember that.
and then I came back in 96.
Okay, but there wasn't people before you though. I forgot their names.
Yeah. They, that was like I say, 87.
But I didn't know that until I had already heard you guys. Like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm trying to think of these fucking songs. Now I had the fucking cassettes. I used to, god damn, man, it takes, god damn, I forgot the, what was the first album called? The first name of the album?
The very first Ghetto Boys album.
When you got on there. And
we got on Grip It on That Other Level.
Grip It on That.
That was Grip It on That Other Level. And then we did the self-titled album, Ghetto Boys. And then that was We Can't Be Stopped. That's the one that kicked the door in.
Okay.
We Can't Be Stopped. But
you guys were
first
big
one
before
that we did together, we
Exactly.
went platinum without radio.
And that's what we listened to. And that's what I was saying. We would be like, man, we fuck with Willie D because he'll fight. Because Vallejo was a fighting city. Vallejo was like a real fighting city. So Richmond and Oakland, they were known for being shooters and shit. But Vallejo, we was known for fighting motherfuckers. And we just loved Willie D because, man, that motherfucker will fight. You'd always talk about beating someone's ass for some reason. You never really talked about shooting motherfuckers, but you'd always talk about beating someone's ass. And we'd be like, hell yeah, that's how we get down.
Yeah. Yep, those were the days.
Yeah. And can you imagine if you had internet back then, though?
I'm glad we did not have. I don't know. I still think even if we had internet back then, I think I would have still moved a little differently because I'm just not the tell on yourself type of dude. I just think I would have moved differently.
But did you try to
I'm
live the rock star life?
I'm glad we didn't have internet back then because everybody was filming. They was
everything. You probably would have been knocking fools out.
Yeah, they filming everything.
Yeah. Nowadays, I tell people all the time, you go commit a crime, man. Believe me, there's gonna be a camera somewhere, man. No matter what you try to do, there's cameras everywhere, man. So good luck. You know what I'm saying? Good luck. But I remember we used to bump the Ghetto Boy, and then I got hip to DA, Dead End representing H-Town on the map, and we ain't tripping. I forgot that was the Dead End. Then I started getting this is before I even came to Houston. People were starting bringing more Houston music. And then I finally come to Houston, and what I think about hip hop right now is the hip hop game is Houston rap on steroids. I think the just the culture of Houston when I first got here is now the culture of all hip hop, whether in East Coast or West Coast. It's on Atlanta, it's on steroids. You know what I mean? I think Houston, for some reason, I don't know how Houston became such like the threshold of it all.
Yeah, we definitely deserve to be recognized for our contributions, and I think we all kind of lift a little something from each other. But all of the regions kind of lift a little something from each other. But
who did you listen to?
Listen, growing up, man.
Before you even got in the Ghetto
Run
Boys.
DMC was my go-to. Run DMC, KRS-One, all the hot stuff. If it was hot, LL.
Did you fuck with Cool G Rap?
Cool G Rap.
Yeah, Cool G Rap was probably one of my favorites.
Cool G Rap. But I didn't get into Cool G Rap till I got in the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I still think Run is one of the best of all time. Run from Run DMC never get. I mean, he was spitting gas back then.
But guess who was writing it though?
Who?
DMC.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just like like for those who say, "Oh, Bushwick, my favorite rapper." Shit, he can't be. I wrote the rap. I wrote the lyrics.
What?
You know what I'm saying? So put it in perspective.
What?
Put it in perspective.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
but at the same time, it's also for me one of those things. It's a proud moment because if Bill is your favorite rapper, shit, I helped him be. It was my talent that made that happen. Yeah. So I can look at that and be like okay with that. So I'm not upset if somebody say that. Because we were a team.
Do you remember Sugar Hill Gang?
Absolutely.
Rapper's Delight. That's the first rap I ever heard.
Yeah.
I remember hearing. I taped it
Yeah.
on my tape recorder when you could tape off the radio and shit.
Yeah, that was the first big song that I remember listening to for hip hop
Yep.
was Rapper's Delight. And I remember we played the Astrodome. We played the Astrodome. Our football team played the Astrodome for the championship, Little League championship, which we won. And we was out there on the turf. This when they had a turf field. So we was out there on that turf, man, playing football. And I remember we were all on the bus, hip, hop.
Y'all know every word. Y'all know every word?
Hip, hop, you don't stop. Yeah, man, everybody, you know.
That was a long ass song, and I just knew every fucking word.
That was a long song.
Long ass song. And I remember because that's like when I was in junior high. But I remember people were like popping and shit, but they were popping to like Cameo and Cutie Pie. I mean, they weren't really popping to like rap music yet. It was like more like funk music, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Brothers Johnson and shit, and they were popping to shit like that. And then hip hop started coming around. 79, right? Or 79, yeah, 79.
No, hip hop came around.
No, Rapper's Delight. I'm talking about Rapper's Delight. Yeah, hip hop.
Rapper's Delight was 79.
79, yep.
Look at you, boy. Look at
I know
you,
my
what
shit, man. I'm
history.
telling you,
Yeah,
dog.
it was exactly 79.
And they got a crazy story
forget
too.
it.
Have you heard their story about their name getting took away and shit?
I've heard some things.
Wow, there was a documentary on how they got their name took, and then put some other dudes to be the Sugar Hill Gang. You know what I'm saying? You know how motherfuckers do that shit. You be looking at that band, oh, that ain't the same motherfucker. That's a different motherfucker right there. But they own the name. Sylvia.
The label.
The label owned the name.
Was it Sylvia
Robinson?
Yeah. Yeah, right. I heard.
There's like a documentary about Give Us Our Name Back.
Man, when are you going to do a documentary?
Man, I was just talking to a couple of people about that, man, because...
That'd be good. I definitely watch that.
Yeah, man, because like I said, all the stories I gave you when I first got here about the gas and the heroin balloons, and I got so much more that if I sat down and write it out, from that to where I've got to right now, yeah, I've definitely...
We're talking documentary. Really, you got a movie.
Yeah.
You got a movie in you.
Yeah, but I think I want to do the documentary too. Do you ever see that TV show Unsung?
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows, Unsung.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to do that for myself. And kind of like how they did it. I like how I watched every season of Unsung.
Yeah.
And that's how I want to kind of do mine.
Right.
But I got some shit. My shit's going to have cussing and shit in it. You know what I'm saying? My shit's going to have, it ain't going to be so proper. My shit's going to have cussing and like the real raw dog shit.
Yeah.
Because like I said, heroin to hip hop, man, that's what my life's about.
Well, there go the movie also.
I like that title. I've always thought about that title.
Heroin to hip hop. The story of Ronald Ray Bryant, a.k.a.
Baby.
Bash,
Yeah.
Baby Bash, a.k.a. Baby Beach.
Yep. I got so many
That's
levels.
beautiful, man.
There's so many levels of my career because I got signed with Profile Records. I don't know if you know this, but I used to hang around a group called In Too Deep. They had a song called Back to the Hotel. Da-na-na-na-na. They're from Vallejo. We hung with them. Those like our boys. They got to deal with Profile Records, who was also DJ Quig, Run DMC. Do you remember on the 12-inch records Profile? So I hung with them, and I had a group called Pot and the Deuce. We was some wild motherfuckers. So I had a group called Pot and the Deuce, and we got a deal. That was my first major deal. Was on Profile Records in '94, and that's when I caught the rap bug for real.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just hang around rappers and talk shit, but when I started writing shit and putting shit down, I got a record deal that quick. Imagine my very first demo. You know how back then people were cutting demos and shit. Back then you had to cut a demo tape, get a picture of you, like I called a headshot, a picture of you in the group, write down a summary of why you guys think you should get a record, and we would mail them out to fucking Big Beat Records, Profile Records, all these record labels. Back then you had to get I forgot what they called it, but you would mail them out to these record labels. The first demo I ever rapped in my whole life, I never rapped in my life. The first song I ever rapped on had E-40 on it. So imagine, my first time I ever even thought about writing a rap, I did a song with E-40. And at that time, E-40 wasn't on the major. E-40 was big on the underground. And that's how fucking my shit started. My first song was with E-40.
How'd you link up with JT the Bigger Figure?
No, it was JT, not JT the Bigger Figure. It's JT from In Too Deep. Yeah,
Oh,
JT the Bigger Figure is first. But JT from In Too Deep, there was a couple of Mexican families in Vallejo, and his was one, and mine was one.
Okay.
They were the Trujillos, we were the Juarez, and they were the Garcias and the Angels. And kind of like our parents knew each other and hung around each other and, dated each other. And so we were kind of like cousins, not blood cousins, but we kind of grew up as cousins.
Okay, gotcha.
So he blew up. Do you remember that song "In Too Deep"? Back to the Hotel. It was a huge hit in '92. Back to the Hotel. Da-na-na-na-na. I don't know if
I know
Houston
that
really played
sound,
it.
and I don't know if that sound is just a sample from some other stuff or
Yeah,
what. But
Public Enemy music first, then In Too
yeah,
Deep, and then Shake Shake. What was that? Shake It, Don't Break It. What was the one? Shake It to Me, Shake It to Teddy
you
Riley.
talking about the that's
Rump Shaker,
rump.
Rump Shaker. Yeah, the Rump Shaker. So, but that little horn sound was Back to the Hotel,
Okay.
and they got the record deal, and then I started hanging around studios. I'm telling you, I was playing basketball all the time, hanging around studios. That was my life. And they got a record deal, and I said, man, I could do this shit. And then 10 years later, I got my record deal. It took me 10 years, man.
Well, man, they say good things come to those who wait, and as you was waiting, we was waiting too, man, and we are proud of you, man. We're proud that you did become a rapper and put your stamp on everything.
Yeah,
Your contribution has to be recognized, man. I appreciate you for coming over here
I
and
appreciate it.
sharing your insight, man, and also sharing a piece of your story, man, your
Appreciate it.
legacy.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's always a great thing to hang out with you and chop it up with you. I told you before how much I like how you talk the real shit. You stand up for it. You know what I mean? And I still want you to be congressman, man. We talked about that. You told me about, okay, well, I got to wait a little bit because Whoopty Whoop's over here, and I got to make sure to. But yeah, it's always great to be on Willie D, the Willie D Live. I mean, I like how you're doing your podcast. You said doing a podcast now. I follow you on Instagram. I like to talk shit on Instagram. Sometimes I'm high as hell, and you say some funny shit or some funny ass shit. I like to put some funny shit on. People get mad, but I don't give a fuck. It's just jokes.
It's just jokes.
Yeah.
But you ain't no joke, man. You take this
Hell
shit
nah.
seriously, man. And we appreciate you, man.
It's
Once
all
again,
love.
thank you for coming on the show.
Yee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Baby Bash. Arrah. Yeah.